Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday. Welcome to Game Day Live, presented by the Let's Go Devils podcast network and the Primetime Radio studios, along with Vancouver. My name is Vinnie, Parise, and I am here with Short Sky. We are getting you set for New Jersey Devils hockey as they take on the Colorado Avalanche. Welcome to all fans watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it is you're calling it these days. Short Sky. I'm not going to get Sam Wu all fired up, but it's a rematch of the 2001 Stanley Cup Final.
It is. I'm doing good. That's a rough Stanley Cup Final because I was at Game 6 that year. I was at Game 6.
Oh, were you?
I saw the Devils lose. It sucked.
I'm sure. We were talking about things being rigged, sporting events being rigged with Sam Wu before things started. And we're not even going to go down that path with him on.
That was rigged. It was rigged for Ray Bork. I just want to put that out there. I've been on record saying that.
You have been on record saying that multiple times.
Raymond Bork. Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah,
the Devils, in a lot of people's opinion, were the best of themselves in 2001, even though they won Cup in 3 other years. But a lot of people believe that the 2001 Devils were actually the best Devils team. But it sounds like you agree, Short Guy.
I agree, and that was one of those things where as much as like Ray Bork is a legend of the game, and I couldn't even enjoy him finally getting a Stanley Cup because it was against the Devils. Like I just couldn't enjoy it. Like it's even still to this day, like they show him raising the cup on commercials, and I'm like, oh, that SOB. He got the cup over us. And like it still bothers me to this day. Like I can't even be happy for the guy, even though he's a legend of the game, which, you know, sucks to say, but it is what it is. When your team loses, it sucks.
100%. There are a couple little stains on the Devils' little dynasty run where they won 3 cups, and nobody would take it away. You won 3 cups in 9 years. Like most fan bases would tell you to cry me a river. But there's the 2001 final where Raymond Bork finally did it, and he did it against the Devils. It stopped the Devils from going back to it. And then there's also 03, where Jean-Sébastien Giguère won the Conn Smythe Trophy as the loser, when the other goalie on the other team was arguably just as good, if not better. And legend of the game.
That one I have a little bit more of a not such a hard stance on because without Giguère, the Ducks aren't there. So I can understand that one, and especially as a goalie, I can understand a fantastic goaltending performance. Even though I would have loved to have seen Brodeur win the Conn Smythe, let's not forget that. But I can really appreciate a fantastic goaltending display, and Giguère did that.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. I remember when Giguère retired, and he went on like a little last lap with Solani around the ice. That was pretty cool. So it's not like I have any disdain towards these guys. The Avalanche, they are what they are. Here we are in 2024. They are 2 years, 3 seasons removed from winning the Stanley Cup. They have superstars like Nathan MacKinnon, who's one of the best centers in the NHL. I think Mikko Rantanen is firmly one of the best wingers in the NHL. And Cale Makar is probably the best defenseman in the NHL. They don't have Gabe Landeskog anymore. We'll see if they ever have him again, but he's been out with injury for just about 2 years now. And there's still talks that he comes back. He's young enough to come back and still have a long career after, but we'll see how that goes. But the Avalanche here today, they're not as dominant as they were over the last handful of years, but they're still a very good team. They have a Hall of Famer at every position. That's a good start. Where are you at when you see them coming to the Rock to take on the Devils?
Well, I mean, aside from everything you've already mentioned, they're coming in and we're going to see an old friend and has become a foe and a nemesis to the Devils and Scott Wedgwood. He plays very well against us, and all reports are pointing to him starting in net tonight since he didn't play last night in their game against Detroit. And every time that we see Wedgwood, he plays very well against the Devils. It's almost like he knows what to do against us, and it's so that'll be a tough go over right there because he's a good goalie when he plays. Like his role as a backup is perfect for him. He's a good goalie. He's also a really good person. He's a really good friend of a teammate of mine for my hockey team, And, he seems like a really stand-up guy from everything that, my buddies told me. He's a really good dude. They always get him tickets when he's in town. So that's going to be something else the Devils are going to have to tackle. A goalie that, plays well, a former Devils goalie who likes to play well against us, just like Mac Black did recently as well. So, and when we saw him a little bit in that, he was with the Stars, when we saw him for a little bit in relief, he played very well. So that'll be something for the Devils to also look at, and, Brooke Amanda just put in the chat that, we have Jake Allen starting tonight, which I'm okay with, because Jake Allen is a fantastic, is doing what he's doing for the Devils. But I know it's going to be a tough go at it against Wedgwood.
I have stats to back up your claim.
Okay.
Since leaving the Devils, the group of Corey Schneider, Scott Wedgwood, John Gillies, Mackenzie Blackwood, Keith Kincaid, and Eric Comrie have played 12 times. And they are 6-1-1 with a .938 save percentage and a 2.38 goals against average. So Wedgwood is in net tonight trying to continue that trend forward. And the New Jersey Devils I'm sure it was. If I were Keith, I would have mentioned it personally. I don't know how coaches feel about that.
I would not mention it.
I would say, listen, this is what's happened. Let's not let it happen. Go to the front of the net, be an a-hole to play in front, be hard to move, make things uncomfortable, force the goalie to think more about you than stopping the puck, be smart with the puck when you're entering the offensive zone, be hard on the forecheck, and let's treat this game as if we're playing Igor Shesterkin, or as we're playing, because things are different. You're not going to tell me after watching that game that they played against the Rangers on Monday, where they were so good and so tenacious and all over the place. They know what they have to do to score on a guy like Igor. And, Devils fans, we own Igor. No, you don't. Okay, Igor's like 12-6-0 against the Devils, and he's done. We beat him in the playoffs, right? And there's been a couple big games that the Devils have had against him, but he's got 2 shutouts. His save percentage is like .915. Igor's elite all the time, and they smoked him in that game. You need to go into this game with that same mentality. I would mention it if I were the coach.
Yeah, it's definitely worth mentioning because he's got a history of playing well against us, although, he was traded from the Devils back in 21-22, so a lot of this team hasn't played with him, but it doesn't really matter because he likes coming here and playing well against us no matter who's on this roster. I mean, he showed it, I think, last year with the Dallas Stars when they came in, and like I said, he showed it a little bit, recently with Nashville, but there's something about playing here. It's probably the friendly confines of the Rock for him that he does very well. But, this is also a team that's, different than the team that he was on in 21-22. However, I guarantee it's probably on the team sheet about what Scott Wedgwood has done against us and what he has as far as weaknesses and strengths and something for the team to focus on. But, as from the conversations we've had with Chico Resch, part of it too would probably be that the players don't really care who they're shooting against. They just know that they need to know where to shoot and what they need to do to score. So it may not just be the person, but I think it's definitely got to be something that, worth a mention. Like, hey, this guy does very well here. Let's stick it to him tonight. Like that. It may just be as simple as that. Walking out the door just before you're getting on the ice is, a couple parting words from the coach.
Absolutely. So I have a thought before we get into predictions, because I know today's a little bit of a shorter show with it being a Sunday and the game coming up quickly on us here. I'm watching the last game they played against the Kraken, right? And there's one thing I couldn't get out of my head, and I don't like saying this. I'm a big fan of Andre Palat. He plays the game the right way. He goes hard to the net. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's been awesome in his NHL career. I hate him on the top line with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes have been so dynamic and so good together over the last month or so. Basically, since the start, they were a little slow out of the gate, but they're both probably going to break 100 points if they stay the course. They'll lead the Devils to the playoffs, be their 2 leading scorers going into said playoffs. And I feel like they can even have more. There were countless chances in the last game where they set up Palat and he shoots it 3 feet wide. And like he's just unable to sometimes accept some of the beautiful plays that it just seems like he's a step behind them. And it's nothing against him. I think he could be a very, very impactful third liner, playing with the likes of a Paul Cotter or other people who slow down the game a little bit so that they can like be effective players. I would like to see the Devils make a trade for a top 6 forward that can handle what Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes do, even if it's just like a guy who's very good at going to the front of the net. And I know they would never make this trade with the Rangers. The Devils and Rangers don't trade unless one team is like really, really bad, like the Michael Grabner trade or like stuff like that. But like a guy like Kreider, who he's not fast, he's not, dizzle-dazzling all around, but he could go to the front of the net and tip in your pucks or bank in your rebounds at a higher rate than someone like Palat. They're not breaking up Heischer, Meyer, Nason anytime soon.
No, they're not.
Because all three of those guys have purpose on that line. They all do different things, and they've all been doing said things to the highest, basically, potential that they could. I'd like to see a couple more goals from Meyer, but like it's coming, I think, and he goes and stretches. He's like a pure goal scorer, a fit power forward type guy. But I would love to see just one addition to this team. It would be that winger for Jack Hughes opposite of Bratt, so you don't have to tinker with the second line at all.
Yeah, and if that's something that Fitzgerald sees, then it's something that he'll make that change. But at the same time, we got to work with what we got right now, and Pally's the one that's probably slotting in best with them in practice. The Meyer, Heischer, Nason line, that's not getting broken up like you just said. But at game speed, Pally may not be able to do it, but Pally will do other things, and it brings me back to that. I forget what game it was where he had that really awesome keep at the blue line. It's those small things that I think Pally is very valuable to those guys, because it allows them to kind of go, balls to the walls and do what they got to do. And Pally can be kind of like that more responsible guy in the back end that'll let the kids go play, and he'll make sure to kind of keep everything safe and solid in the back. So, that could be Pally's, reasoning for being there. And Pally's, I hate to say it because he's younger than me, but he's getting older for the NHL standards, and I'm sure he's losing, a quarter step here and there. But I think it's all the other stuff in which he's able to do to let the kids play, if you will, so that they can, but as a professional though, Palat's got that skill to where maybe it'll take him a little bit, but he'll be able to bring up to that, get up to that speed and be able to handle those chances too. But I think it's definitely all the other stuff, all the other tangibles that is keeping him there. That just he's the responsible one and letting the other two go, which you want. Like, you don't want like 3 guys down below and then all of a sudden it's a turnover and there's no one but the defenseman and a 3-on-2. We've seen a lot better defensive play from Jack, especially. Jack and Bratt they've really upped their defensive game this year, and I think that they probably had no choice under Coach Keefe. But I really think it's that defensive side of it that Pally that's his purpose for being there, is that stalwart rock that's there while the kids go off and do what the kids are going to do, and then they'll get back in time to join the defensive side of the game when they need to.
Shorts guy, that is one of the most eloquent, thought-provoking responses to like the opposite side of what I was saying that I've ever heard, and you like basically convinced me. I like that answer, and I'm being dead serious. I'm not just saying that because like everybody can have varying opinions on things, and like nobody's right but you might have actually like just persuaded me a little bit, because that keep was sensational. And like there have been a couple times.
The reason why, like, Jack messed up and Pally kept it, but Jack kept streaking towards the net, and that's the only reason that goal was scored, because Palat was able to skate on the blue line.
Yep, absolutely. That's probably Jack Hughes' like premier assist in terms of like prettiness, if you will.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's actually
fantastic.
Yep, and he does do a lot of little things.
You know what? A broken clock is right twice a day.
You're more than a broken clock. Okay, you're at least You're at least a mildly malfunctioning one where it's right a little more than twice a day. Okay.
Not on my predictions. Not on my predictions. I'm worse than a broken clock on my predictions.
You're dead. So I'm asking everybody right now to get your predictions into the chat right now. Shorts guy, what's going to happen in today's game between the New Jersey Devils and the Colorado Avalanche?
I'm just going to address something real quick I saw in the chat. Brooke Amanda said, Shorts guy for president. I'm going to put a big no on that. That's a thankless job that I want nothing to do with. I want nothing to do with being president.
Parise. That's shirts.
I can make them. I mean, we can make those shirts and we could sell them, but I'm not running for president. No way. I'm old enough now, but I've been old enough. Anyway,
tomorrow I'll be 5 years away exactly.
Happy early birthday. Happy early birthday, my friend. Welcome to I'd say welcome to the 30s, but I left those 2 years ago. Back
over
to
30.
Back. Yeah, well, the over 40 club over here too. I'm not Devils and the Avalanche. Whatever. I don't act my age. You can ask anyone who knows me. I do not act my age. That's for damn sure.
You know what? We all enjoy fun, and that's what keeps us all young forever, I think.
Oh, totally. So Devils Avalanche tonight. You know, the Avalanche are coming on. We are getting another team finally on the second half of a back-to-back. So we're kind of reaping those rewards of what we had to deal with last year and what teams got from us. And I feel like there was a stat on the last game that they said on the broadcast, something about the Devils do well against teams on the second half of a back-to-back. So I'm hoping for that, but we do have Scott Wedgwood in net for them tonight. And this is a very good Colorado Avalanche team. I think they won 2-1 last night against Detroit? Something like that.
Yes, it was 2-1. Yep.
Yeah, 2-1. So even like that's another matchup that has died off in the last couple of years, unfortunately. But Detroit has given them trouble like they gave us trouble. And I feel like that tonight it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be back and forth, and I think the Devils are going to ultimately win, but I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm going to say 3-2 Devils, potentially 4-2 with an empty net.
Very good. That would be great. Let's see what the people in the chat say. Max says 2-1 OTW. AJ says 3-2 Devils. Brian says 5-1 Devils. Eddie says 7-4 Devils. Steve Engel says 5-3 Avs. Sorry, don't see us winning this based on last game's play. The Devils killed the Kraken. Like, it was 3-2, but like they outshot them 36-19. The deserve to win meter had the Devils at 72%. If it weren't for Grubauer, the Devils would have won. And listen, I know Grubauer's had kind of like a really bad year so far, but he was amazing in that game.
He played well. He was
so good. Sometimes you just tip your cap to the opponent when the team is 19-9-1 or whatever the Devils are, and they win a close game because of the other team's goalie stood on his head. If Grubauer didn't play well, they would have won that game 5-2. The Devils thoroughly outplayed. If they repeat that exact game against the Kraken, they will beat the Avalanche, who have crap goaltending most of the time. They will beat the Avalanche 5-2 if they repeat that effort from Saturday. Let me make that opinion very, very clear. Art says 6-3 Devils. Selecta says 4-3 Devils. Brooke Amanda 3-2 Devils. Brooke Amanda says and over 40 with like a drooling face.
Oh yeah.
Sir. What else do we got? Her face says 3-1 Devils. And
did you read Joseph's 10-0? I don't know if you did or not. Joseph said 10-0. Sam Wu scored. 10-0. That's a Sam Wu score if I ever saw one.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Max going with a historical quote. The Devils need to tear down that wall. I love it. A historical themed quote to bring down wedge wall. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry, Steve Engel. I'm not lucky last game. No shot. They thoroughly outplayed the Kraken. They deserved to win under every metric you could possibly look at. The eye test told me that the puck was in their zone for pretty much the entire game. And Philip Grubauer just played. I mean, 36-19. That's almost 2-1, right? Like that's almost a 2-1 shot ratio.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Beauty, Jack Hughes, and Bratt were all over the place. I thought the Heischer line defended the good players that the Kraken have. McCann, who's a real good player, had a couple good looks on Markstrom, and Markstrom stood tall. The Burakovsky goal that the Kraken, that was amazing. I think he would have scored that on Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Brodeur in his prime. That was incredible play by a guy who just kept getting scratched over and over again, and he finally gets back in the lineup, and sometimes that happens. So Ted says 5-3 Devils. And then Survey points out that the Kraken just beat the Rangers 7-5. So, it's not like the Kraken joke. They're not. I don't think
they're going to go to the Islanders too. They beat the Islanders too. So we're the only ones that have beaten them out of the local three.
How many of it's been happening lately, Shorts Guy? It makes me feel good. These teams are going on the New York trip, and they come out of it 2-1, and the one loss is to the New Jersey Devils. It's happened like 4 times. You know what? The team I cover professionally, the Chicago Blackhawks, they're about to make the trip through the New York area. They got the Rangers tomorrow. The Islanders is either Wednesday, I think it's Thursday, and then the New Jersey Devils on Saturday. So that'll be the Vinnie Parise goal.
Any chance the Blackhawks are sending Vinnie Parise out to New Jersey to be live on location?
I wish. I would have to pay for the flight, obviously. I'd be able to get in the game for free, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think I'm going to watch it from the Hockey Barn in Chicago. It's this awesome. It's not a Blackhawks bar. You've
told
NHL
me about
bar.
it. You've told me about that place.
And highly recommend it for anybody who rolls through the Midwest, because you go to places like you go to Dallas, it's going to be a Stars bar. You go to Denver, it'll be an Avalanche bar. This is an NHL bar. It is not biased. I mean, I think the Blackhawks games get sound, like the United Center is right down the street, obviously. But, every game is on. And I'm just so excited to go there in my Devils gear. We'll see how Game Day Live works for that, but I'll be there for the game for sure. So that's exciting. My prediction for tonight's game is that the New Jersey Devils are going to win this game. I'm going to go 4-3 over the Colorado Avalanche. And Sam Wu says it won't be an avalanche. It's going to be an effing landslide. 12-0 Devils.
That's a Sam Wu score. That's a Sam Wu score.
Sam Wu score of all time, if I've ever heard one. So, Shorts Guy, I hope you enjoyed doing this show. We encourage everybody to get on out there, watch the New Jersey Devils take on the Colorado Avalanche, and we will be here with you throughout the week as the Devils move on. Make sure you go to joinourcrew.com, sign up for the newsletters that come through, learn about everything that goes on with this team, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Apple, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcasts, and follow at Let's Go Devils Pod on Twitter, X.com, and make sure you listen to Devils After Dark after the game to hopefully listen to a recap of a New Jersey Devils victory over the Colorado Avalanche. We're Shorts Guy and Sam Wu. My name is Vinnie Parise, and as always, let's go Devils.